Roboquest is a roguelike first-person shooter taking place on a future Earth currently ruled by a malevolent AI who has filled the world with machines. You play as a robot, serving as the guardian of a little girl called Max. The two of you must work together to defeat this AI and free humanity once again. I'm going to be relatively brief when it comes to the story because it's far from a core focus of the game. What I previously mentioned essentially captures the essence of Roboquest. It starts with a young girl leaving her home in a van. We don't know much about the world, but what we do know is that it takes place far into the future, given the look of the technology. What's left of humanity appears to be nomadic, save for some living in remote settlements. Not long after she leaves, she bumps into a machine with whom she quickly forms a bond. The two set upon travelling together. They journey through numerous landscapes, ending up in a sealed-off city previously belonging to humanity, but is now managed by Iris, the AI whose grip over the Earth is absolute. Your mission is to defeat Iris, to free the planet, allowing humans to live peacefully once again. This means fighting through a massive army of machines. It's a very simple story, which is why there isn't a whole lot to say about it. It gets the point across, and it serves as an effective backdrop for the game's main selling feature, which is the roguelike mechanics, to thrive. That I'll get to later. What I like most about the narrative is the way it is presented. Most of it is experienced through cutscenes that are laid out in a comic book format. It's a nice change from the typical style that we're used to, and it fits the tone of the game perfectly. Visually, as a whole, it feels very reminiscent of a comic book, which is thanks to its cel-shaded art style. Each environment sticks out thanks to the vibrant colours and a particular attention to detail. You may not be hanging around to admire the scenery, but the game does a good job at making the journey through the world of Roboquest a memorable one. Character designs are another big highlight. Even though 99% of them are all machines, the variety of appearances is significant. You've got little, almost cute ones that look as if you can easily squish them, which in fact you can. Then you've got some heavy hitters that genuinely look terrifying. You've also got a capitalist gentleman robot who always appreciates a tip. Roboquest is filled with a boatload of charm, and it's through cases like that last bit where it becomes really apparent. It's a light-hearted and amusing experience. With it being an action-heavy game, having those charming aspects is a refreshing change of pace from all the running and gunning. But alas, nothing I've talked about so far makes Roboquest as memorable as it is. Granted, these things certainly had a major hand to play, I'm not denying that, but it's not what completely blew me away. I rarely enjoy roguelike games. Roboquest had me stunned with just how much I was enjoying it. Before I dive into the gameplay, I'll just quickly return to why I dislike roguelike games. My main criticism is their repetitive nature. A lot of these games pride themselves on being played repeatedly with the intent of getting better while progressing in some specific way. I get bored of this pretty quickly. The only two I can think of that I liked were Hades and Returnal. Please play Returnal, it's the best PS5 game, thank you. Now with Roboquest, it's not a case where the story develops in each run you do. Like I said, the story is simple. It's actually a lot more straightforward than you'd think, but it's something that took me completely by surprise. It's the weapon variety. I don't think I've even seen all the weapons this game has to offer. They range from bog-standard guns that you'd expect to see to absolutely ridiculous things that practically make no sense at all. As an example, you have an assault rifle that ricochets bullets when dealing critical hits. Seems normal. Then you have exploding shurikens that bounce off walls and deal critical damage on a regular basis. If that doesn't stick out enough, you have burst fire homing missile launchers that increase fire speed on kills, rapid fire tomahawks, dual crossbows, Tesla rifles, nunchuck frying pans. There's even a gun that shoots bees. The game virtually begs you to experiment in each playthrough simply by showing you these absolutely bonkers choices. Only 2 weapons can be carried at a time, which can be so irritating, but it makes sense. If what you have right now simply isn't sitting right with you, you can try a different approach in your next run and have a completely different combat experience. These weapons are made even better when upgrades and skills are taken into consideration. As you kill enemies, you gain XP. Then, when you level up, you can choose a skill to enhance your character. These include class-based skills, something I'll get to in a second, or general things such as increased reload speed or applying elements to your equipment. Likewise, upgrading weapons raises their stats and makes them more effective in later levels. You can find new weapons either in drops throughout the world, or by opening specific chests located in safe areas, or at the end of certain challenges. It's completely random each time, so you'll never know what you're going to get. One other major aspect that determines how successful your playthrough will be is which class you choose. Classes are unlockable, either by choosing specific character upgrades outside of missions, or through finding them in the game world. Each class has a unique skill and melee attack, and they all have their own situational uses. You can be sneaky and precise with recon, going invisible and getting instant kills with your melee attack, or you can be loud and choose commando and shoot missiles everywhere. My personal favourite was the engineer, which gave me 2 drones to accompany me and provide covering fire. Whichever one you choose will depend on how you want to play the game. Roboquest gives you the freedom to approach situations in your own way. That being said, there is one constraint that you have to be aware of, and that is time. There isn't a time limit, but you are scored on each level you complete. The faster your time, the better your final score and the rewards you obtain. While this is something that can influence your pace, it is completely optional, and I didn't really feel much of a penalty for ignoring it. You're also scored on how much XP you get. It's worth mentioning though that this is very difficult to get a low score on. Speaking of difficulty, how challenging is it? That depends. Early on, it can be a bit soft on you, but that's just the game easing you into its flow. Before long, you'll notice the enemies increasing in number and complexity. Boss fights raise the stakes, introducing obstacles not previously encountered that need to be dealt with in a moment's notice. Taking damage is very risky, as the amount of health you can lose in a short period of time can be significant. Investing in upgrades to boost your sustainability, both in terms of offense and defense, is vital. You're expected to be on your toes at all times. To remain still is a death wish, and you'll quickly die if you play this way. As a result, movement is quick and floaty, with double jumping and sliding mechanics assisting you in being as fluid as possible. There's also a lot of verticality, something that's boosted by rails that can be ridden across the map. Stuff like this comes with the territory of being a roguelike. If you regularly play games of this genre, I can't tell how easy or difficult you will find Roboquest. Nevertheless, for me, it did enough to be challenging, but not to the degree that I ever really found the game frustrating. That's what makes Roboquest so successful. Its engagement depends entirely on how you want to play it, and once you find a playstyle that suits you, you won't even notice that 2 hours have gone by in the space of what felt like 10 minutes. I'll be honest, I was hesitant to start this game, and that's simply because it's a roguelike. It's a genre that's becoming increasingly popular in recent years, and I can't say that that's a trend I am particularly fond of. And yet, Roboquest did something that not only made me move past my gaming prejudices, but also genuinely surprised me. It's absolutely nuts, sometimes to an absurd degree, but I think that's what makes it work so well. I've played it for 6.5 hours, but I honestly don't think I spent enough time on it. I finished the campaign, but it doesn't end there. You can keep playing as much as you want, find all the collectibles, and try as many different playstyles as possible. So, in actuality, I'll likely return to this game and keep playing, something I very rarely, if ever, do with the games I review. If you share my sentiments about roguelikes, I implore you to give this a go. Likewise, if you're a fan of the genre, or are looking for a starting point for it, scratch that, I don't care who you are, just play this game. I can sum this game up with 2 words: insanely entertaining. There's a lot to experience here, and I honestly think developers hoping to make roguelikes should look to Roboquest as a source of inspiration, and as a lesson on how to make one that's accessible to anyone. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you wish to see more reviews for indie games. Let me know in the comments what you want to see a review of next, and I'll see you soon. Bye.